Hi everyone, my name is Holly, and in today's video I'm going to be doing my August book haul. So I am so excited because not only are book hauls one of my favorite videos to film, but also all of these books are fantasy books. Well, except one, possibly, but most of them are fantasy. So I am so excited to delve into these books. I'm looking over here because my stack is right here beside me. It is looking beautiful. And I also have 12 books in this stack. Yes, another big book haul. I just could not help myself, and expect some big book hauls pretty much every month for the rest of the year because there are some amazing releases coming out this fall and they're all fantasy and I basically need them all. Do I have room on my bookshelves? No. But does that matter? No. I need to buy them all. So the first book I have is Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco. And this is the one where I'm not quite sure if it's a fantasy, but it is a historical fiction murder mystery book and I just had to grab it. I have heard so many people raving about this book and the second one is coming out and I needed to grab this one so that I am ready for the second one. As you expect it to be, it's about Jack the Ripper, and if you all know the history of Jack the Ripper, then you know he was a mass murderer of women, and like, come on. Does that not make you want to buy this book? Because I don't know what would. But this book follows a girl named Audrey and she gets very interested in Jack the Ripper, and that's pretty much all I know. And the next book I have is Wind Witch by Susan Dennard, which is the second book to Truth Witch. So this series follows two women who are best friends and they both yield magic, one of them being a Truth Witch and the other one being a Thread Witch. A Truth Witch is someone who can discern truth from a lie, and a Thread Witch is able to see the invisible ties that bind the lives around her. And they both just want to be free to live their lives the way they want to, but unfortunately war is coming to the Witchlands. And with the help of the prince, they have to fight their way through emperors and princes and mercenaries alike. I am super excited to delve into this series. Female friendship is one of my favorite things to read about, like sisterhood, and yeah, I just can't wait to delve in. The next book I have is Long May She Reign by Rhiannon Thomas. And can we just talk about this cover? This was a cover buy for me for sure. This is a young adult fantasy book following a girl named Freya who is 23rd in line to the throne. She never dreamed of running the palace that she lives in. Instead, she would much rather research in her laboratory. Unfortunately, when the extravagant banquet that she is attending becomes complete chaos and the king and the ones closest to her become poisoned, Freya suddenly finds herself on the throne. She may have escaped the massacre, but unfortunately, she is far from safe. The counselors don't like her. She is getting disrespect from the other noblemen. And this book just sounds really interesting because I really want to know who poisoned the king, and I'm guessing that is the mystery that surrounds this book. I love a good YA fantasy with a good mystery behind it, so I am really excited to read this, and I believe this is a standalone. I think, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it is, so I can delve into this whenever I want, which may have to be soon. The next book I have here is The Savage Dawn by Melissa Gray, and this is the third and final book to the Girl at Midnight series. I'm going to be honest, the only reason I bought this whole series without reading it yet is because one of my favorite booktubers, Kristen from Super Space Chick, raves about this series, and I knew that I would love it because my fantasy interests are the same as hers, and I just know I'm going to love this series because she did, and that's why I have it. So this series follows a girl named Iko who is a very daring and cunning character, and when she finds that there is war literally at the borders of her home, she ends up learning that there is a way to fight back, and that is to find the Firebird, which is a mythical entity that has power which the world has never seen. Lucky for Iko, she knows how to hunt and she knows how to take what she wants. So what does she do? She goes and hunts for this Firebird so that she can call her home safe once again. Another amazing series that I can finally move on to, and I swear this is is going on top of my TBR, like I say for every series, but definitely this one because it's complete and I can finally read it. The next book I have here is Royal Bastards by Andrew Schwartz. Every time I read the synopsis of this book, I just get a Jon Snow, Game of Thrones vibe, probably because our main character, Tilla, I believe that's her name, yes, Tilla, is a bastard. I am so excited to read this book. It just sounds like it has such amazing adventure and politics and just everything good in a fantasy. I've heard great things about it and I'm just super excited to read it. Sworn to no one. And this cover is so pretty. The next book I have here is Now I Rise by Kristen White. And this is the second book to And I Darken. So this book is a very interesting one, and that's because it tells the story of Vladimir the Impaler, but instead of male, she's female. Now, that just has my full attention. I have heard that this book is dark and brutal and full of fantasy, and that is just everything I love in a fantasy book. Dark and brooding and hopefully some angst in there, because we can't have our fantasy without a little bit of angst. And again, I do get some Game of Thrones vibes from the synopsis. Just all the political crazy chaos, and I'm just so ready for it. The next book I have here is the Hufflepuff edition of Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Now, I'm sure a lot of you know that Bloomsbury came out with these really beautiful house editions, and I had to get my own house, and that is Hufflepuff. And as you can see, these editions are so pretty. It has the spray painted edges with the yellow because Hufflepuff, you know. And this is what it looks like inside. It has a little bit about Hufflepuff on the inside, and it is just beautiful. And it has the friar on the back, which is really cool. I'll be honest though, I almost want to get the Slytherin copy. I have always thought that even though I have been sorted into Hufflepuff into every single quiz I have ever taken, I feel like I have some Slytherin in my heart. So Slytherpuff it is. I just need to get that other copy and just mash the two together, and that's me. Because, yes. The next book I have here is The Crowns of Croswald by D.E. Knight, and I'm not going to talk too much about this book because I have a whole separate video of me unboxing a really interesting package that this book was in, and I will link that down below in the description box so you can watch it, which I highly recommend because there were some interesting items in that box. Like this little cool thing right here, spoilers. But yes, go watch that video. This is a fantasy middle grade and it sounds really interesting. The next book I have here is Obsidian and Stars by Julie Eshbo, and this is the second book to the Ivory and Bone series. I don't know if you're seeing a trend here or not, but as you can tell, I buy whole series of books before I even read them. And there's a lot of sequels in this stack of books I'm showing you today. That's my life. But I normally have my reasons on why I buy the whole series, and that is because this series is a prehistoric fantasy. Ugh. Like, that sounds so amazing. I have heard great things about this series, and the cover is gorgeous, like on the other one as well. And they match so great together too. Ugh. So aesthetically pleasing. I love it. The next book I have here is Wayfarer by Alexandra Bracken, and this is the second book to Passenger. So this is a YA fantasy series all about time travel. And actually that is really all I know. I do know that the first book mostly takes place on a ship. That's really all I can tell you. And time travel and romance and fantasy and beautiful covers too. Like, look at the naked book. It has a ship on it. which is super pretty. And I believe this series is a duology, so I can jump right in whenever I want. So I only have 2 books left, and I'm gonna go kind of quickly because my battery is dying. But that is Avenged by Amy Tintera, and this is the second book to the Ruined series. So this is your typical YA fantasy, which follows a girl named Emelina, and her home is being ravaged by war. She unfortunately witnessed her parents being murdered, and she also witnessed her sister Olivia being kidnapped. So since Emelina owns nothing, she has nothing to lose, so she sets off on a dangerous journey to the enemy kingdom to basically get revenge for her family. The final book I have here today is The Crown's Fate by Evelyn Skye. So I have heard great things about this series, and I've also heard that it's kind of like the Hunger Games, but with a Russian twist to it with magic. And that just sounds like the perfect recipe for a great YA fantasy book, and I'm super excited to read it. So that is it for today's video. I really hope you guys enjoyed. Be on the lookout for my August wrap-up and my September TBR. And until we meet again, happy reading.